this video, I'm going to show you how you can get the live coordinates of a user in Flutter using the geolocator package. Let's first create a brand new Flutter project. Type flutter create dot. This will create a new Flutter project in the current folder. Since we're only interested in Android and iOS, I will go ahead and delete the Linux folder, the macOS folder, the web folder, the Windows folder, and since I'm not going to write any tests, I will delete the test folder as well. So the first step is to actually install a package called geolocator. Run flutter pub add geolocator, followed by flutter pub-get. If you check your pubspec.yaml, you should now have the geolocator package in your dependencies. Now we need to actually go ahead and configure the Android and iOS folder to make geolocator actually work. First, in the Android folder, locate the Gradle.properties and make sure that these two lines are added. Next, we need to set the compiled SDK version in our build.gradle. We can find the file under Android app build.gradle, search for compiled SDK version and set it to 33. And lastly, for Android, we need to actually go ahead and add the required permissions for geolocator to work. Go into the source folder, main, Android manifest.xml, and right here add these two permissions. Don't forget to save. The setup on iOS is a bit faster. We just need to go to the runner folder, info.plist, and add these permissions. We are now finished with the setup. Let's go ahead and build a small skeleton app so we can actually display the coordinates of the user on the screen. Let's first go into the main.dart file and delete the my app widget. Next, let's create a stateless widget, call it main app and return main app right here. To get some live feedback, I will actually now go ahead and start the app. Press Ctrl F5. Instead of returning a container, let's actually return the material app widget. Set its home property to our homepage widget, which of course does not exist yet, but let's create it quickly. To do so, go into your lib folder, create a new folder called pages. Inside that folder, create a new file, homepage.dart. This will be a stateful widget because I actually want to display the updated GPS coordinates as we go. Call it homepage. Inside here, I will return a scaffold and set the body property to a container for now. In the main.dart file, go ahead and fix the import. And now we should see a white scaffold. Good. The next step is to actually get the GPS coordinates. I like to create a helper class for that because I want to separate the UI logic from the GPS logic. Let's create a new folder called helpers. Inside that, I will create a new file called gps.dart. Let's call this class GPS. Inside here, I will create three functions. First will be start position stream. This function will start the stream for us. Another function called request permission. And the third function will be is access granted. Let's actually start with the request permission function. We should check if the user has already granted us the permissions. Since this is an async function, we need to await it and mark the surrounding function with async. We will then assign it to a variable. Now, if is access granted permission, we actually don't want to ask the user again, so we should just return. Maybe we'll just return true, so we can indicate that the request permission function ended successfully, right? The user granted us the permission. Only if this is not the case, we should actually go ahead and request the permission. Await geolocator.request permission, like so. We'll actually assign it to the permission variable again. And then we return is access granted of the permission. Now, how do we implement is access granted? We will just expect the location permission as an argument to check. And we will just return if the permission equals location permission dot while in use or permission equals location permission dot always. In both cases, we can actually go ahead and use the GPS of the user. Let's also add the return types here. This will just be a bool. Since the request permission function is async, this will be future bool. Now we can actually use these two handy functions here in the start position stream. We will first of all await request permission. Remember that request permission, our function right here, only requests the permission if we haven't granted it yet. Otherwise, the requesting phase will just be skipped. The function actually returns if the access is granted, so bool permission granted equal to await request permission. If the permission is not granted, we can actually not start the stream. So we should throw an exception like this. If we have the permission though, we can actually go ahead and start the stream. We will say geolocator.get position stream, and on this stream we want to listen. Now you can see that the listen function expects a function that takes a position as an argument. Let's call this callback and get it in the arguments. This will be a function that gets a position called callback, like so. Now this is a little bit long, so I will actually type the function right here, position callback, to be this. Now we can configure the stream by setting the location settings field to location settings. Inside here we can define the accuracy, a distance filter, and a time limit. I like to set the accuracy to location accuracy dot best for navigation. Now we should also provide a function to stop the stream again. To do so, I will actually assign the return value of the listen function, which is a stream subscription of position. I will put it in a variable right here. Let's mark it as late and assign the position stream right here. Position stream is equal to this. Now let's write the last function, future void stop position stream. This will simply call the cancel function on the stream. So position stream dot cancel. Since this is an async function as well, we need to await it and mark this function as async. Let's also add the type right here, which will be a future of void, like so. Now our helper class is done and we can actually just go ahead and use it very comfortably now. Let's go into the homepage widget. Inside the state, let's create actually a GPS object. Let's also define a variable for the position of the user. And let's also create an exception variable, which will indicate that an exception has been thrown or not. Since the homepage widget is a stateful widget, we actually have access to callback functions like the init state function. This is actually the perfect place to start our GPS stream since we only want to start it once. Give it our handler function. Let's call it handle position stream. I will define it up here, like so, with position as an argument. Inside here, I actually just want to set the state and set the user position to the position. Actually, let's go ahead and make this variable private as well. And then this post function right here, we should call gps.stop position stream like this. Now we can actually go ahead and display the values. So let's actually do that. Let's put a text right here and put user position dot to string. If we now go ahead and completely restart the app, we should see that we're now going to be asked if we want to provide access to GPS. I will say while using the app. And we can see the coordinates up here. Let's quickly center it. What you might have noticed is that we did not get the coordinates right away. Maybe I can show you. Let me restart the app again. You can see that we're actually seeing null right here, because it takes some time to actually open up the stream. Once we have the stream though, we can actually go ahead and set the location to somewhere else. For example, let's go very far, maybe right here to McDonald's. It should be 5157. So if I set the location, we are now at 5157, right? So that aspect works. But the thing with the null is quite ugly. So let me show you how to make it a bit more beautiful. To start off, we should actually handle the exception. So in the init state, we should add a catch error clause right here. And if an error happens, we just want to set the state and set the exception variable to the error. Now we have everything to display the content conditionally. Instead of just putting the position right here, we will define a variable called child. If the exception is not null, we know an exception has been thrown, and we can actually set child to a text widget that says something along the lines of please provide GPS permissions. Else if the user position is null, we could actually go ahead and show a circular progress indicator like this. And in the last case, we will just set the child to be the position. So if we now go ahead and set the child here and restart the app, we are now seeing the progress indicator, and now we get the coordinates. Now let's say the user did not give us the permissions. So let's actually go here and revoke the permissions. Now let's restart the app. Now we say don't allow. We will see that please provide GPS permissions is actually displayed. So the arrow is also caught. And yeah, this is how you can get the GPS coordinates in Flutter. It's actually not that difficult. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.